Hello, Trekyardians, and welcome back. I am Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Congress.
We're going to be talking about something today that we love to talk about, and that's ships, specifically the Enterprise and Enterprise.
And some interesting alternate timeline shenanigans, which create other questions about their captains in the grander thing. So you remember this thing called the Cage?
I do.
And you remember this thing called Baz Terra?
Yes.
Well, they kind of did a hybrid. And it's called Quality of Mercy. And it was Pike, but in Balance of Terror. Oh my god. But because he wasn't injured when he was, and in fact he changed the timeline from a certain point, and ripples go, quite far back. The entire timeline was changed from the episode, I guess where they start in the episode, 2259, all the way until 2066, hence you get a different Balance of Terror. And we're going to talk about how that Pike hasn't got his Enterprise refitted into the original series Constitution class version refit, and how that probably is the reason why he lost the battle, because, far weaker ship as relative. So if we look at the first graphic, we have some timeline graphics. We know that in the Cage, the Enterprise was a Constitution class standard, and of course it was actually seen, it was double confirmed in Discovery when they used old footage. So we know that's what they're telling us the Cage kind of looked like in Pike's command. It was then looking like the sort of the War Enterprise as Eagle Moss did in one of the magazines in 2059. That's the Stranger Worlds episode. And then by 2066, the original Balance Terror is refitted into the classic production Connie. So, boom, 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 right? However, second graphic, this is what we got in this version. Should have been the original Constitution class. Instead, it was still this alternate timeline, the older Connies. So Pike never went and got refitted, never got the straight struts, never got the smaller ship, never got the different weapons. How that led to events, I just found it interesting that because he was captain, unlike Kirk, we never got refitted. I'm just wondering, so what you thought about that?
Well, it makes somewhat sense. I mean, if he averted his fates, he stayed in command, didn't necessarily have downtime for the Enterprise because it still had a captain, so it was still out doing its job, and never got a chance to get around to getting, let's say, going into dry dock and getting a refit.
It's not a small refit. There's a substantial amount of change. Most elements of it. So
that would make perfect sense after the accident, like I said, and then right before a new captain, refit it, send it out on its new 5-year mission. And that never happened, so it appears like perhaps he just didn't get around to getting it into dry dock. They were too busy doing stuff, possibly. Just did not do any of the upgrades. So yeah, that's.
And they even said in the first episode that their post-damage refit upgraded the transporters and other things. You imagine with such a radical upgrade and refit into the original Connie, just the shields would be hugely improved. And so something as simple as taking an impact from that Romulan ship, it did more damage, a lot more damage in Pike's Balance of Terror than Kirk's. So things like that, if you then lose, because I think they lost weapons, didn't they? So just by losing weapons, they no longer could do the fight later on. So, or something of the ilk. So that's an important situation to remember. I kind of like the idea that it doesn't refit it, not practically, because, get a better ship if you can. But I can imagine that once Pike thinks he's cheated the timeline, he's going to opt to stay on the Enterprise as long as they let him. Because if he knows he's on the Enterprise, he knows he's not going to be anywhere near there. So I can see him saying, to the Admiralty, yes, 5-year mission. Can I have another, please? Cool. Like, instantly another one, right? Just so he's outdoing. And so you're not going to spend a year. Because imagine if he's thinking, if I spend a year in dry dock, they might ask me to go lecture or teach students. No, sir. So he's like straight out. So I kind of like that. It's a subtle tell that he's so focused on living on the ship that he lets technology just pass him by into the Constitution class classic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's Starfleet standards where certain things do have to be upgraded, but if you're out doing a 5-year mission, you stop at a starbase, maybe get 1 or 2 systems upgraded. It's not a full, complete overhaul like it would be at dry dock. Older ships are definitely a thing. They don't get a chance to go home necessarily and have that downtime that they need for a complete overhaul. So, and considering that the timeline's been completely changed, I think it makes perfect sense.
And I mean, it varies. In TOS, they rarely were near Federation things. That's part of the point. And in a few of the episodes of Stranger Worlds, they are so far out, it feels like a distance, and sometimes they just pop back to the starbase to hang out. So they kind of play both sides. But if Pike said, I really do want to go out, I can imagine spending a full year without ever even going back to a starbase at all. And what if I can imagine there's only so many dry docks with refit capabilities, another ship might just get in the queue. Once the spot was made for this colony to upgrade to the colony that we know, that slot would probably be taken by the Farragut or the Freudian slip of the Farragut, the Potemkin or whatever, another colony. Now it wasn't even an option. So he might literally just been out of system, out of the part of the galaxy when that was offered, and then it just delayed it too far and boom, they got balanced terror. Or positive.
Because this episode was their perfect opportunity to change the Enterprise to have the straight struts and the new look,
creamier hull texture.
Yeah, and it would have been a nice thing to have seen. Didn't get that. I mean, obviously for some budgetary reasons and stuff, probably as well for the show. But it's fun to kind of speculate and just try to figure out why that might be the case.
Because we know what the ship turns into, so the fact they didn't means it's the same ship, which means it wasn't upgraded, which means I just found it really interesting, and it would have been, it almost would have been fun if they'd said a line. If Scotty had said, "Damn it, I wish we'd upgraded the ship when we had a chance," because it's a hefty upgrade. This colony then lasts for many, many more years. And if this other colony is already refitted for the war, which would have been it was 10 years before Kirk, so it'd be a 10 years war refit, 10-year-old tech, at least hull-wise. I mean, hull plating improves, The facades are different, they improve warp nacelles, the nacelles are entirely different nacelles. I mean, these things, it's going to be slower, it's going to be, the deflector's entirely different, clearly. So, yeah, it's just interesting to see.
And the butterfly effect, once one small thing is done, the ripples that move out from that are quite substantial, so, yeah.
And the bridge crew's pretty different as well. All the little things come together to make a big change. Pike didn't want to let go of his crew. Benga still had Hammer. Didn't have Hammer. Yeah, didn't.
Still did not have Hammer.
So that's how the people who were there. So yeah, I can definitely sense him. Once he thinks he's safe, he's committed to keeping that together as kind of good luck charm. Because I imagine once the date passes, which is only 6 months before, Pike would then be relaxed. Like, I've now skipped fate. But they're not going to say, oh, well, then we'll go straight for a refit. It's not going to think that. So then when the cycle comes around again to get the refit, maybe if they hadn't done this, it would have skipped all the way into TMP's refit. And then the dried up people are like, oh my god, you've skipped so many refits. God, we've got to change this into this. Jesus Christ. But it's just funny, if you go to the first picture again, the evolution of the Enterprise, would have been
I do appreciate that in season 2 of Discovery, they do actually show the actual original footage.
Cage.
So, all right, guys. So comment down below what you thought about this. Did you think that was maybe the case, that the Enterprise just didn't get upgraded or refitted? Let us know your thoughts. And by all means, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for the lives where we have these kind of discussions all the time with you guys, because we love talking to you.
We do. And if you want to support what we do here on this channel, these sorts of videos, or any kind of videos, we know that Lower Decks and Picard and Prodigy are going to throw ships at us and do cool things. So if you want to see content from us, sometimes on a daily basis, then you got support us directly via Patreon or join the channel. Both are monthly, one-time donations at trekyards.com, that easy PayPal, or super chatting in the lives, also with thanksings in the videos. Anything of that sort helps, and we really do thank you in advance.
That's right. So until next time, whether we'll be refitted or not, he is Commander Cockings.
It's kind of funny. Bye, guys.
See you guys.